Hello, Instagram. Hello, YouTube. I have two cameras going here, and I'm going to look at the YouTube camera, and I welcome everyone who is joining from both platforms. Furthermore, you see I have my headphones in. Instagram, this is going on YouTube. YouTube lasts longer, so that's where I'm prioritizing, but I want to make it super convenient for all of you to join today. Today is a little mini workshop that I'm hosting in celebration of Yes Ann's second birthday, which is wild. So a little quick background. I am an alignment coach. If you don't know who I am, I help individuals align with their most authentic, their most true business, which means career, if you're not in that entrepreneurial space, though many of my clients are, as well as your lifestyle and your relationships. Relationships almost come up every time with my clients. It tends to be our fast, quick ticket way to get to whatever it is that is on the surface as feeling dissonant or misaligned. I absolutely love what I do. And over the 2 years that I've been in business so far, I've learned so many things. And last year, in the 1-year anniversary of Yes Ann, the 1-year birthday, I hosted a virtual retreat, which was so fun. And this year, when I was thinking about how to celebrate, I thought, you know what? I'm going to kick off a weekly video series. And so to kind of step up the game and how I can show up for you, and especially for providing more free content, I am launching a weekly Spark, which many of you have heard that name before if you've been on my email newsletter. Weekly Spark used to be my blog. I'm now writing a book. So to be honest, my writing endurance has gone down a little bit, or rather that it's focused on writing my book right now, which is coming out next year. And furthermore, I absolutely love speaking. I've gotten so much positive feedback from those of you who have attended my speaking events. And so I thought, what better way to talk about alignment and to support you in a free, really accessible way than speak every single week. So here we are, we're kicking off something that's going to happen every single week moving forward. And today we are talking about your foundation to success. What is your foundation to success? I'll tell you in a moment. And how can you get there? And also, what are some roadblocks that we can already anticipate that are going to come up, those doubts and those fears, and what can we do to address them? Have some notes. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Yes, I did miss one thing. If you want to follow along with this workshop, whether you're watching live or the replay, subscribe to yesandbymarin.com/success. That will give you the 5-step guide that I'm going to walk through today. And also that will send you the replay for this video in case you want to go back and you want to watch something again, or in case you can't catch the full video right now, the live version, then you'll have that replay to refer back to. So again, that's yesandbymarin, marin.com/success. And that's your free 5-step guide and your nice replay so that you can watch this at your convenience, and maybe in double speed. I only bring that up because maybe you don't need double speed with how fast I talk, but I tend to watch things a little quicker pace than live video. So maybe that's your preference too. All right, so let's get started. Your foundation to success. Your foundation to success is, surprise, surprise. Oh, Instagram is going a little wonky here. Surprise, surprise. It's you. You are your foundation to success. And I really think this is one of the biggest differentiators in how I approach coaching and how I approach development. And really, I mean, I host a time management workshop, financial alignment workshop, goal setting workshop. The foundation retreat last year was all about setting goals for the year moving forward. And how I coach my one-on-one clients, whether we're talking about relationships or their business or careers, or their lifestyle or their healthy habits, the unique approach that I take and what I think is so valuable and life-changing is to start and end and all the way through with you. What are your values? What are your desires? What do you care about? What are your interests and what is your skill set? And in all the personal development work that I love, I feel like a lot of the time we don't have that part of the dialogue. We don't have that part of the discussion. It's always leaning on an expert. It's always looking to what has someone else done? What does the research say? What did my parents do? What are my friends doing? What does my coach tell me to do? What is the advice or the mentorship that I'm receiving? And although this is very valuable, and I read many personal development books. I love my podcasts. I love watching YouTube videos to learn more about tactics and strategies and mindset shifts and practices that have worked for other people. And I've seen so many clients come to my door feeling overwhelmed and feeling scattered. And I think what's going on isn't that. In fact, I just had a client share her testimonial. She was saying that she did a lot of that. She did a lot of personal development work, a lot of self-help books, a lot of programs and courses. And what happens is that it's almost information overload. There's so much to take in. There's so many different forms of advice. There's so many different directions you can go, whether you're talking about time, whether you're talking about your business, whether you're talking about lifestyle, healthy habits, healthy, like I was just talking to a client yesterday who's in my group program, my group experience, and she is trained to be a personal trainer. She has trained and she's starting this business. And there's so much advice and different techniques, and not only the study itself of how many different approaches there are to personal training, but also that it's always evolving, and every field is always evolving. And so we can get to this place if we're always looking outside of ourselves for the external advice, the external mentorship, the external guidelines and rule book to follow. It can get overwhelming. It's no wonder that we feel a little bit scattered, or that we feel a little bit lost in the midst of all of this noise. And what I help my clients to do, and what I'm going to help you do today, is walk through a process of finding your foundation, your solid base, so that you can still take in all the external information. Again, it's really valuable to turn to the experts, to turn to what other people have done that is really successful, to think about different strategies that other people have participated in and or have taken on and have been really great at whatever focus area you're focused on at the moment. And you need that place to come back to so that it doesn't feel scattered and overwhelming, so that it feels good for you, so that you have something, a measuring stick, a check-in point to say, is this working for me? Is this the results that I wanted? Is this the life that I was striving for in the first place? Is this the outcome I anticipated it would be? And is this the way that I want to do it? So there are so many strategies and so many different approaches to all these different aspects of life that it's ultimately, yes, what works, and maybe some research guidelines and a basis, but ultimately, what do you prefer? What do you want? What gets you to your goals, and what aligns with your values as you do so? So today we're going to be covering the 5 steps to find your authentic voice, which is your success, your foundation for success. And we're going to cover 8 questions that align with these 5 steps. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about how I define my authentic voice, what my foundation for success is, and how that has led to a business, to a relationship, to my lifestyle that feels incredible for me. And then I'm going to also include a little bit of a proactive approach so that when any gremlins or roadblocks come up for you, because we can already anticipate that they will, you'll already have some tools in your back pocket that you can pull out and use to maintain strengthening and pursuing your foundation to success, your authentic voice, rather than feel overwhelmed and feel totally off track or thrown off when those come up. So let's start with the first step. The first step is to define your voice. And throughout this process, you'll hear in the sheet that you download at yesandbaymartin.com/success, you'll see that I talk about your voice. And when I say your voice, what I mean is that fire within you, that part of you that's like, if you think of the angel and devil on your shoulders, it's the angel. It's the one that's like, these are your dreams. This is what you value. This is what we care about. And it's the one that when you listen to it, things just have a way of working out. Sometimes maybe it's scary to listen to that voice. Maybe it's saying something that's way off your norm. Maybe it's pushing you to step out of your comfort zone. And ultimately, that voice you've learned on some level is the one that is guiding you toward the greatest good, toward what most aligns with with your best life, with what really feels good for you. And so the first step to all of this is to define what that voice is. And in a sense, we can define authenticity, and it's a buzzword these days. So there's many ways to talk about authenticity. But when I think of authenticity and finding a way to really simplify it, it's that voice. It's speaking directly to that part of you. And you can call this intuition as well. You can call this God. You can call this the universe. Whatever it is that feels like it's that center point that really is your that voice that is the one that guides you most accurately. And it sounds different, and it is different for every individual. But I think because I've heard so many of my clients say this, and my group program participants, that everyone has this voice. Whether or not you listen to it, you know what it is. So step one is to define it. And 2 questions to ask in accordance with this step is, who or what is your voice? A very broad, vague question to start us off. Again, because everyone defines it a little bit differently. And then, is your voice connected to something beyond yourself? So again, I said that maybe you actually call this voice God, or intuition, or universe, or higher power, or my highest self. Maybe even that feels like it's a higher power for you, or something beyond yourself, something greater than yourself. You could also think of this voice as your future self. Sometimes that's a great way to step out of kind of the present day, what's right in front of you, the details of this world that can sometimes make things confusing, and think, okay, my future self, what would she say? What does she sound like? Is she that voice that can help guide me to my greatest good, and thus your foundation to success? The second step is to listen to that voice. Wow, mind blowing. Listen to the voice that you just defined. And we can start small, right? We can start by, I give the example of months ago now, or maybe even years ago, when I was first starting to really strengthen this muscle of, I want to listen to my highest self, my greatest self. I want to start hearing her more and trusting her more. And what I did is, on my walks, I would typically walk or run the same exact route, because I like my routine and my structure. And I started just letting that voice, just inviting that voice to that very easy activity, and just follow it. And so I would be walking down the street, and I'd see a house, and I'd do this to this day. I'd see a house down the street that I think looks really beautiful, or some landscape, or I see a dog walking down the street. And so I'll change routes and go a different direction, simply because part of me, that higher self part of me, that intuitive, free-flowing, greater than myself part of me, told me to go this other direction. And so we can start really in a really small way to listen to your voice, in just taking little shifts that, again, are telling your voice, essentially saying, I trust you, I'm here to listen to you, and I will follow you. Just show me the way. And then acting in accordance. And you'll see at the end of this 5 steps, action is a big part of this as well. But first, to listen to that voice, to listen to it, hear what it sounds like. Once you start doing these little activities, these pretty low risk activities to listen to your voice, you'll start to pick up what this voice sounds like. Maybe you have a caricature that you build of what this voice, or who this voice is. Maybe what she looks like, the type of feeling that's usually behind her words, the type of activities that she usually guides you to, or he usually guides you to. The third step is to trust this voice. So it's similar to those activities when you're taking like micro opportunities to listen to your voice, listen to your voice. And then trust it is to start building that trust, and trust it more and more and more. And so the 2 accompanying questions here are, when was the last time you trusted your voice, and what was the outcome? And then, what happens when you do not trust your voice? And so this step is really to start reflecting on what happens when I trust my voice, when I even do something as little as turning to a new block. Or last night, I went out for ice cream, which I hadn't done in a really long time. And I also yesterday went to an estate sale that I just happened to walk by when I was walking auto. And I thought, there's really no reason for me to go here, but part of me just wants to go here. And so I'm going to do it. And as I was reflecting at the end of the day, essentially doing those 2 reflective questions of trusting my voice, I thought, I felt so alive yesterday, or it was today when I was reflecting last night, but I felt so alive, and I felt like I was living. I felt like I was just experiencing my life, the life that is meant for me, and it felt good. And so that was a really great big takeaway from two really small events that I did yesterday. That was just listening to my voice and trusting it and acting in alignment in little tiny ways. And furthermore, think of those times when you didn't trust your voice, when you didn't trust yourself, and what happened. So I can think of an example. I talk a lot about my transition from a PhD to my master's degree. So I left a PhD program because it was misaligned. However, for many instances leading up to the moment where I actually left that program, I had these little knocks on the door. I had these little insights, my voice speaking to me saying, hey, this is misaligned. Hey, this isn't working. Hey, you're really stressed. Hey, like you could do this other thing. You might enjoy this other thing more. And I listened to it, but I wasn't trusting it. I wasn't acting in alignment with it. And what happened is that eventually I reached a total breaking point that one of my mentors, Kobe Kozlowski, calls the 2x4. Like there were all these little knocks that were just like knocking and gently letting me know, hey, this is happening. Hey, you should maybe listen. And then there was the 2x4 of like, you got to listen. You got to step out of this PhD program because it is very misaligned. And so I noticed and took away from that experience, when I don't listen to my voice, when I don't listen to those knocks, I'm going to get slammed by a 2x4. It's not a matter of, is this going to happen or not? Is this the right thing or not? It's a matter of when I'll listen. Will I choose to listen when it's those little gentle knocks, or am I going to wait until the 2x4 or something really disrupts my life, or just like really puts a neon sign in front of my face that guides me? And not to say that that's wrong necessarily. Sometimes we really need to build up that reassurance before taking a leap and listening to our voice. However, just something to reflect about. When you don't listen to your voice, what happens? And when you do listen to your voice, how does that feel a little bit different? Fourth step is to nurture your voice. So the two questions in accordance with this step is, what fear commonly speaks over or smothers your voice? And then what are your go-to activities to tune into your voice? So this is the step I was talking about earlier, those tools you can have in your back pocket when any doubts or fears come up for you. So think about, already do you know a fear or a worry or something that you're concerned about, or you value, that often steps in and smothers this voice from you hearing it or trusting it or acting in alignment? What often comes up and kind of derails listening to that voice and trusting it? So for me, a big one, historically speaking, that's come up, and still to this day, I won't even say historically speaking, is safety. Safety tends to be the fear that comes up, and safety isn't a bad thing, right? Safety is a very good thing to be aware of. However, in my experience with safety, it is so powerful and so concerned that, for instance, when I was thinking of starting Yes And, back when I was just entertaining the thought of opening this coaching business and coaching full time, I was very afraid of the safety of specifically financial support, but also the safety of, I had this alternative, safer path of the traditional career route. And I could have taken that. Even the PhD felt safer in the sense that it was outlined for me. I knew what the next 7 years would entail. And so it felt safe. And that safety voice, therefore, was really powerful and really strong and prevented me from doing that sooner. Again, not necessarily a bad thing. However, now that I know to look out for safety, I can hear when safety starts to creep in. And yes, I'll listen and consider it just like I would with any other voice or external noise coming into the picture. However, now I recognize there's safety. Safety tends to take over and drive the bus and drive us to a course that doesn't feel good and doesn't feel aligned with my greatest, biggest self. I'm going to listen, but then immediately do something to help set aside or settle down this safety part of me. And then I turn back to my voice, my authentic voice, this higher self, the universe, for ultimate guidance and ultimate decision making. Furthermore, your go-to activities, that second question with this step, your go-to activities to tune into your voice can look different for every individual. This morning, in fact, I drove to the dog park, which I do every morning, and I played John Mayer. And John Mayer, I don't know if this is odd. It always brings me back to my voice. It always brings me back to my greatest good and my most authentic self. no matter what. It's my go-to. And I was so excited by the end of the time at the dog park, driving back to the apartment, getting ready for this event, celebrating the 2-year anniversary of Yes And. I was just dancing. I was having a great time. I was so excited to talk to you guys today, to record this video and share these insights with you. And all of that feels so aligned with my authentic self. And it started with John Mayer. Turning on John Mayer, turning on your favorite music. So maybe that's something that helps you tune into that authentic part of you. Maybe it's journaling, maybe it's meditating, maybe it's talking to a friend, maybe it's saying something out loud just to hear how it sounds. Maybe it's recording yourself into your phone. We have those voice apps that are really helpful when it comes to just like needing to get things out there. So there's a lot of different ways to tune in to your authentic voice. If it feels really challenging, that's when you might want to seek external support. But again, specifically external support that's going to help you hear your voice. So not turning to a course that will give you the answer, not turning to another degree or a different career. Those things aren't helping you find your voice, your foundation to success. Those are different avenues to success. But your foundation, the thing that you can come back to, that you can rely on forever, the unshakable part of you, is your voice. And that is a very specific skill set for someone to help you find that. So that's what I specialize in, is helping my clients hear their own voice. A lot of my coaching is reflecting back what they've said, sometimes verbatim, just reflecting exactly what they just said and saying, how did that sound? The insights that come from that activity alone are incredible. Furthermore, I'm asking questions not to guide them to a certain place that I have in mind, but to help them dig into and dig under the story that they're telling, the beliefs that they might not see, the values that they hold for themselves, the truth, the fears, the desire, the dream that they have within themselves. That's what this type of coaching is all about. And that's the type of support that I would advise you to go to if you want to find your voice. However, notice I just said advise. So ultimately also tune into you and say, what support do I need to help make this a reality, to help this become a practice for me? Maybe it's, meditating every day. Maybe it's some of these other options that I shared of how to find your voice. But if you are seeking support, seek support that's specific to helping you find your voice rather than mentorship or an advisor, which is a different game. Last step, the fifth step, is to act in alignment. So all along, we have been taking little actions, of course. And this last step, acting in alignment, is really building up that courage and the bravery and flexing the muscle that we've been training all along to take those big leaps. And sometimes it is a big leap. I always use one of my clients because I love her, and her big leap is to move to Norway. And that is what she is planning to do. That's what she's preparing to do. And it's such an incredible big leap. And it's so aligned with who she is and what she desires. It just was like crystal clear. And it's a big leap. It's a big leap to move from Minnesota, USA to Norway. And I love that example. However, it might not always be a big leap to act in alignment. Maybe it's speaking your truth. So another personal example is years ago when I first started dating, who is currently sitting in the other room right now, I was really afraid to voice that I really liked him and that I wanted a relationship with him. And I needed to work with my coach to build up that courage because I already knew the voice, the guidance, the insight that I had within me was already there and already clear. And then it was just a matter of, I need to act in alignment by saying something, by progressing this relationship where I feel called to progress it. However, it took the first few steps to nurture it, to trust it, to then take that big leap. And the big leap was sending a message, was sending one message. So again, it could be moving to Norway, or it could be writing out a few words in a message. But all of it can feel the same type of like, oh man, you're about to drop on a roller coaster, you're about to step into something big. And it's so aligned with you that you know that it's right, even if it's really scary. The question I have in accordance with that last step to act in alignment is how will you act in alignment with your voice in this moment? How will you do it right now? So maybe it's turning off this video and going to do something that you wanted to do all morning and you haven't. Maybe it's replaying this video or pulling up the PDF from yesandbymartin.com/success that you can have, and walking through these steps for yourself and really writing out the answers to these questions so that it feels like it's really landed on your heart and soul. Maybe it's telling someone something big or small that you just has been on your mind and you just want to voice. There's something in this moment that you can do to act in alignment. And what a great way to embody the practice that you just learned about, to go through these steps in a really quick way, to define what your voice is so that you can then listen to it, to trust that voice and nurture it by acting in alignment right now. And then I ask, what will you do to act in alignment in the next hour and the next month? So as with all of my workshops and all of my work with my group program or my one-on-one clients, it's not just about this time that we have right now. It's not just about learning something and thinking it's a cool thought and hearing the perspective, though that is valuable in and of itself. It is also looking forward and ensuring that all of this plays out in the real world, in your real life. So it's, yes, nurturing your voice, hearing it, trusting it, but then it's acting not only now, but next week and next month and next year. And so how can you help yourself stay accountable to hearing your voice continuously, to building that trust, to flexing that muscle, to training that muscle, nurturing it so that you can act in alignment more and more consistently and thus build your success, whatever your success is? Those are the 5 steps. Again, we have define your voice, listen to your voice. We have trust your voice, nurture your voice, and act in alignment. And all of this is, of course, tuning into your voice. And by your voice, I mean your foundation to success, your authenticity, that wisdom and intuition within yourself that you already have. Maybe it takes a few questions. Maybe it takes some time, some space to hear it. Maybe it takes some courage or a support system, but it's already within you. You have your foundation. And once this is set, you can take in all the external data. You can take in all the wisdom from your friends, all the examples that you see, all the marketing strategies, or whatever is feeling overwhelming, and have a place to come home to and come back to and say, what feels good for me? What helps me get to my version of success? What aligns with my values? And then act accordingly. I am so glad that you joined me today. If you're joining the replay, I'm so glad that you watched the replay. And I really, really hope that each and every one of you works through these questions in your own time. Today was a really quick version of a workshop that I have done in the past that's 2 hours long, that's really breaking each of these steps down. So I invite you to take that PDF and take some time for yourself. Reserve some space this evening or this week to work through each of these questions, to define your voice, to hear what it sounds like, to put a name to it, to get to know your voice like you're going on a first date, or maybe you're going on a date after taking a break for a while, and then to create a plan for yourself to act accordingly, to trust it, nurture it, and then take those courageous big actions so that your life becomes what you know you are capable of, so that your life becomes what feels so incredible for you rather than fine, rather than good enough, which sometimes good enough is good enough. And if you're feeling that itch within yourself, if you're feeling that dissonance of something is off or I want something else out there, tune into that voice, hear it, trust it, find a way to support it and nurture it. Because once you start acting in alignment, your success is inevitable. It really, really is. I believe it. I know part of you believes it. Tune into that part and build that courage. Yesterday, I was on a call with a client and she found that part of herself, that part that says you are capable. It is possible for you by looking at a pair of tan boots. If you have had a coaching session with me in the past, you'll understand what I mean by that. We often use objects to get out of our head. So find whatever it is for you that'll help you to build this practice and to trust that voice that you have within yourself, so that you can step forward and you can experience success, because it's there. It's right there for your taking. All right. If you have any questions, I encourage you, again, yesandbymartin.com/success to download that PDF. And in doing so, you'll have access to my email. So then just reply to that email that you get sent, that the PDF is sent via. And I can answer any of your questions that you have in response to today's little mini workshop. Again, this was a big, amazing celebration of Yes And's 2-year anniversary. Also, a little heads up for anyone who wants more of this is next week. So just in a few days on Sunday, September 6th, the Yes and Experience starts a new challenge. There's a new challenge every month, and September's challenge is all about addressing self-doubt. So if you hear this voice and it feels challenging to listen to it, or you doubt this voice right from the get-go, it's just a challenge to go through any of these steps already, then I highly encourage you to join. You can join for a limited time. I'm changing these prices, updating these prices soon to be the full prices, but they're still in launch mode. You can still join as a foundation starting member for $19 just to receive the weekly Sunday emails, those practices, the reflections, the videos of me guiding you through this process of addressing self-doubt. Or for $49, again, just for a limited time, you can join and also receive Friday group coaching calls. The group that has come together for these calls, I can't say enough about them. They are incredible, incredible individuals. Our conversations are always insightful. The growth that has happened already in August, we worked through creating your ideal schedule and starting to live it. The growth that happened not only in these individuals' schedules, but also in the personal growth and discovery that they have experienced because of this is tremendous. And I so look forward to see what happens a year from now after 12 challenges. And that can be you as well. So if you want to join us for September to address self-doubt, to receive weekly practices, videos, guidance from me, maybe even partake in those group coaching calls every Friday, then head over to yesandbymarin.com/experience. If you download that PDF, you'll also be getting some notifications from this workshop about that experience coming up, because I really want so many people to join, because what I see time and time again is, and as I've alluded to this workshop, individuals hearing their voice, having that foundation within them already, and then it's just the doubt and it's the fears that come up that sabotage you from otherwise pursuing success that's literally right in front of you. It is so close, and I'm here to make sure that you take that step and claim what is already yours. So I hope as many of you as possible join the Addressing Self-Doubt Challenge in September. Invite your friends, grab anyone who you hear their dream right on the brink, right in front of them, and you want them to achieve it as well, to address that self-doubt, get out of their own way. That's what September is all about. I'm so excited to celebrate with you. I'm excited to celebrate another full year of Yes And. I can't wait for next September 1st to see where we are. Maybe my book will be out by then. And until then, you know where to find me on Instagram, on YouTube. Again, these videos will be happening every Tuesday now. So look forward to those, and get on my mailing list so that you can receive replays and you can receive the PDFs that accompany each little mini workshop. All right, I hope you have a wonderful Tuesday, and we will chat again soon.